Hello and welcome to the BEARDOWN Breakdown here on Sports Tree LTD. Folks, I'm Conner Rowntree and I'm excited to say that my record in the NFL this season has improved to 39-7 with my head-to-head picks after a perfect weekend across Sports Tree last week. 39-7, folks, firing over 80%. We're going to jump right into this week's show with some NFL news and notes, starting with the perfect teams remaining around the NFL. It's only my sleeper team, the Arizona Cardinals. They're my sleeper team to go for the Super Bowl. Best not be snoring on them anymore. As for your injury report as it pertains to your fantasy teams as of October 14th, Chandler Jones, the Cardinals linebacker, is out dealing with an undisclosed illness. Browns wide receiver Jarvis Landry is running again but still on the injured reserve. Colts wide receiver T.Y. Hilton was set to return to practice on Wednesday but is still on the IR. Clyde Edwards-Helaire is on the IR with a knee injury, and Tua may play on Sunday for the Dolphins pending his rib injury as they take on the Jacksonville Jaguars over in London. All right, folks, it's time to get into our NFL Stump and Bump of the Week, and our Bump of the Week has to go to the Baltimore Ravens after a gutsy win on home field on Monday night. Yes, they should have walked away with that game and absolutely cleaned house against the Indianapolis Colts, but they didn't. They came back in the fourth quarter and won it on a gutsy drive in overtime. Congratulations, Lamar Jackson and the Baltimore Ravens. Our Stump of the Week, folks, has to go to Jon Gruden. This guy hit the grand slam of being a scumbag. Racism, misogyny, and homophobia all linked in emails that were uncovered by the investigation from the NFL into the Washington football team. So you know this is only the tip of the iceberg because Gruden has virtually nothing to do with the Washington football team. Players and people around the NFL community have also stepped up about his behavior, from making fun of black people's lips to asking why queers are eligible for the NFL draft. And let's not even get started on his views on female officiating in the league. I'm not going to go into more detail on this because it's aggravating to me as hell, but the facts are our society has moved forward from these idealistics. These actions and words can hinder athletes, fans, and just human beings alike. There are kids watching you, Jon Gruden. You need to be better than this. You are an absolute stump. Folks in our community, let's all pull together to make sure that there are no more stumps like Jon Gruden. Let's help foster a better, respectful environment into the world of sport. Jon Gruden, you are a stump of the week, and here's hoping there are none more like you. Getting into our fantasy up and down this week, folks, a fantasy running back that you need to put up and into your lineup is Giovanni Bernard. Sounds a little weird, right? But he's cemented himself as Tampa Bay's pass-catching running back, and when Tom Brady is the quarterback, that's a pretty good thing. He's already racked up 12 targets over the last 2 weeks and has a pair of touchdowns across that span as well. Look for him to make a huge impact against an Eagles team on Thursday night that's allowing 5.6 receptions to opposing running backs. Khalil Herbert is another running back that you should put up and into your lineup. The Bears rookie ripped off 75 yards on double-digit attempts in Week 5. Without David Montgomery in the lineup, Williams and Herbert are both valuable assets moving forward. Make sure you add Khalil Herbert. As for your down, folks, make sure you put Daniel Jones. Yes, I know I told you to pick up Danny Dimes just last week, but he suffered a concussion, so it's time to put him down. And if he does play, which he might, he has to take on a Rams defense, so cut him and move on. Another guy that you should cut and move on from or try to trade is Allen Robinson. He's been held under 70 yards in every single game this season. See if you can trade him to get that third or fourth round fantasy value that you should have been getting from Allen Robinson. Folks, that leads us into our breakdown segment of this show where we break down the Bears' 20-9 win over the Las Vegas Raiders. And folks, I feel like a genius. The Bears beat the Raiders exactly as I predicted here on Sports Tree. They got after Derek Carr on defense to take away his time and space, holding him to just 206 passing yards, a QB rating below 70, and an interception. We said that Carr has trouble getting started under pressure, and the Bears exploited that matchup absolutely perfectly, as I said they needed to on this very show. On offense, the Bears pounded the rock and chewed the clock. Justin Fields also made some key reads and timely throws. The Bears' backs, Williams and Herbert, both had double-digit touches and had a great showing, boosting the Bears' rush attack to 143 yards on the day. The Bears were massive 5.5 underdogs heading into that game, and they got the job done on the road and retired that scumball Jon Gruden. You have to tip your cap to the Bears for their performance on Sunday. As I said, getting rid of Jon Gruden and going in and executing exactly how they needed to come away with the win. That was a huge victory for the Chicago Bears, and that leads us into the oldest rivalry in all of football, folks. It's the Bears versus Packers on Sunday. For this renewal of the oldest rivalry in the NFL, on offense, the Bears' Justin Fields has won consecutive starts and has improved in all 3 games in which he started in his young career. Last week, he boosted his passer rating to over 90 with the touchdown pass and 0 interceptions. That steady consistency helped the Bears implicate their run-heavy game plan, which paid huge dividends against the Raiders. The Bears are going to need that same push from their offensive line come Sunday. The Packers picked off Joe Burrow twice and held him to a sub-90 passer rating in Week 5, meaning that the Bears will need their rush attack yet again. Green Bay's D against the rush hasn't been all that great this season, surrendering over 100 rush yards per game and 4.3 yards per carry. The Pack also have the 6th worst third down defense and the worst red zone defense in the NFL, meaning if Fields can make those clutch throws like we saw in Las Vegas and the Bears can pound the rock, this game may not be as lopsided as one may think, especially if the Bears can convert on third downs. While the Bears offense versus that Packers defense may be the matchup to watch, Aaron Rodgers simply owns the Chicago Bears. The Packers have won 18 of their last 21 games versus the Bears, and their offensive production hasn't been an issue, as we saw in their last meeting when the Packers spanked the Bears 35-16. The Bears rank bottom 5 in third down defense, and that will be a problem against an Aaron Rodgers who can sling the ball at will to Davante Adams. By case in point being that Adams racked in 11 grabs on 16 targets for 200 yards in their win against Cincinnati last week. Adams also leads the NFL in receptions and receiving yards per game this season. The Bears' only chance on D to shut down that connection is by getting to Aaron Rodgers, and there is no better defense in the NFL in doing just that. The Bears lead the NFL in sacks this season with 18, and Rodgers has been sacked at least once in every game he's played this season. Despite being on the upswing and having a path to victory, the Bears will need to be near perfect to beat the Packers in Chicago come Sunday. That explosive Packers offense will exploit any mistakes the Bears make on defense and capitalize with big points and major scores. I'm taking that potent consistency that the Packers bring in on offense against a Bears team that is exuberant but fairly green come Sunday at Soldier Field. Take the Packers to win. That hurt me to say. As for our Thursday night pick, folks, the Philadelphia Eagles host the reigning champion Buccaneers. Tom Brady threw for 411 passing yards and 5 touchdowns last week. He's averaging over 350 yards per game this season, and he gets a top 10 Eagles defense in Week 6. While that Eagles defense may be in the top 10, it's near impossible to stop the 3 wide receiver ones that Tampa Bay has. Chris Godwin had 11 targets with 7 grabs for 70 yards in Week 5. Evans had 8 targets, 113 yards, and 2 touchdowns. And Antonio Brown had 8 targets, 7 grabs, and 124 yards with a touchdown. The Bucs also have the top rush defense in the NFL, allowing less than 50 rush yards per game, and that plays into my projected game script because the Bucs allowed Jacoby Brissett to pass for 275 yards. In fact, the Bucs have allowed every quarterback they faced this season to throw for 275 yards at least and 2 touchdown passes. Those banged up Buccaneers defensive backs have allowed 314 yards per game against passing this season. Hurts did produce to Devontae Smith last week, his weapon, with 7 receptions for 77 yards, but outside of Smith, I don't see much production for the Eagles. The lack of DB depth in Tampa Bay means that the Eagles should be able to fly Eagles fly, especially in the pass department, but in a shootout, I'm taking Tom Brady every single day over any quarterback in NFL history. The Bucs roll on Thursday night. Folks, that leads us into Grizzly Bears picks and plays of the week, and my boy's coming off another perfect week. That's back-to-back consecutive perfect weeks on the show, and this week he got a little lazy.
I'm just gonna lie here. I'm gonna take the reigning champs. 1, it's easy. 2, it's gonna be right. Bucs win. It's gonna be bad. I'm not even gonna look at the Eagles, but you can look at me. Bucs win. Hello. I'm licking my lips. This is going to be a tasty matchup at Soldier Field. I'm looking at the Bears. I love my Bears, but I'm going to take the Packers. Sorry, Dad. I know. I'm still cute, though, right? Yeah, I'm cute. Can't even look at me right now. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry that I took the Packers. I'm sorry, but they're going to win. Sorry, Dad.
All right, folks, getting into our Survivor Pool picks to keep you alive, let's run through my picks through this season to know who I cannot use in Week 6. Week 1, I used the Kansas City Chiefs, a bit of a cop-out, but hey, it worked. I used Denver in Week 2 against the Jaguars, the Raiders in Week 3, Tampa Bay in Week 4, and Week 5, I used the Baltimore Ravens, and they barely snuck by on Monday Night Football, but they got it done. In Week 6, folks, The pick is in. I'm taking the Los Angeles Rams. They battled the G-Men in New York and should slap them around quite badly. Daniel Jones suffered a concussion last week, so with an unclear QB situation, the Giants stand little chance against the Rams. I take that back. They stand no chance. I take the Rams to dominate on Sunday. As for a trivia question, folks, on this week's edition of the Bear Down Breakdown to get you in to win a pair of NFL tickets to see your favorite teams play live. It's very easy, folks. Who is my sleeper team to start this season? I'll give you a clue. They're the only undefeated team left in the NFL. Folks, head on over to Sports Tree LTD right now. Hit sign up and remember to upgrade your subscription. Upgrading your subscription will upgrade your chance to win up to $15,000 a year and tickets to see your favorite teams play live. We have a bracket challenge going live right now to give away $500 to the winner, courtesy of Halo Fishing from American Baitworks with our MLB bracket challenge. Folks, make sure you sign up. Not only that, but for my picks as well, because we are cruising with our NFL picks this season. Folks, I'm Conner Rowntree, and remember to hit it hard.